I don't know what I'm expecting, really. I don't know if I'm expecting them to sit in a low block to frustrate Leeds, which would be an obvious game plan for me. However, last home game of the season, they kind of need to win to have their own destiny in their hands.
Yeah, they do.
So I mean, obviously, we don't know what their tactical plan is or anything like that, but logic-wise, would probably indicate that they are going to have to come at Leeds, aren't they? So that's going to play into our favour.
Definitely it will, and I think that's the way we should play it. You're right. I missed the game the other night, but to all accounts, when I looked at the stats afterwards, they had 2/3 of possession, which is really unusual this season. I think maybe they're the first team that's done that, maybe the second. I feel that if we are patient and we do sit back and we play this, it's a trendy term now, the low block, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we park the bus,
defensively.
if we park the bus, then look at the players we've got, Connor, that can hit them. We've got some really dangerous, fast players that can hit them on the counter. And I think that worked for us really nicely the other night. We know it could have gone either way at some points, but it did work nicely. Why not play that way? Give them the ball. Let's see what they can do. And I know we have been letting in a few over recent games, but I trust our defence. I think we should play it that way. Because let's be honest, we run out of ideas. We have done over the last half a dozen occasions when we've been playing against these teams that are parking the bus. When we look at these lateral passes and up the channels, we just don't seem to be able to do anything else. It just fizzles out.
Yeah.
If I was calling for a plan B a few weeks back, well, let's just try this.
Yeah, big news. Obviously, looks like Bamford's going to be out.
Yeah.
What would you do there?
I mean, I'm not a massive Bamford fan. All the managers at Leeds over recent years have been Bamford fans, but we know that he's always going to be unavailable for 2 or 3 times a season. And this is just, Bamford's out again. It's like, yeah, all right. We're used to it now, aren't we? I'd like to see Joseph come in. I think all the fans, it's a fan's favourite, isn't it? I would like to see him come in. It's likely to be Perot. I don't have as much of a down on Perot as you tend to have, Con. I understand why you've got that, but for me, he's still contributing an awful lot this season, still giving us a dozen goals, so he knows where the net is. So, I'm comfortable, whether it's Perot or Joseph tonight. I think we'll get a job done. I hope it's Joseph.
I think with Joseph, like I keep saying this, but what you're going to get is it's just really simple. Boil it down to pace terrifies defenders. That's it. Just pace terrifies defenders, and it's always been the case, since the evolution of football. I've listened to plenty of podcasts where defenders have been on there, and it's they've been asked who the worst strikers you've come up against, and they always seem to prefer the physical battle. They always seem to prefer that side of things. So probably AK like a Pat Bamford tonight. But Joseph feels like he'll give you the physical battle, but he'll also just give you that, behind run through, which I think the difference tactically with someone like Perot is as a defence, he's always going to be in front of you, isn't he? He's always going to be dropping deep in that pocket. Yeah. That's how I see it, really. He's going to, I think, having a attacker in front of you instead of behind you is always going to be advantageous for the defender.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird one, Perot, isn't it? I mean, when you look at when he came on for the Coventry match, he came on quite late on, didn't he? He got a goal back for us, and remember the sitter that he missed right at the end. I mean, effectively, he could have actually had 2. He got 1. He could have had 2. Oh, that's the kind of player that he is.
And Joseph played him in.
Yeah, and that's the kind of player that he is. So I mean, I'm comfortable with him. I'm not, because I know what Bamford brings when he does play. But I'm not going to miss him tonight. I'll be honest with you. I think either of those two are going to. They'll be fine. We'll be fine with that. I'm comfortable with that. There's goals in those two. When I look at Bamford, I don't see goals. You see the goal that he scored the other night came off his hip or something. I don't know. But
he was better the other night, to be fair. He was better, I have to say that. But it's going to be, I'm not too, but I think the frustrating thing is tonight is if you've been calling for Joseph, I don't think Joseph's going to start. I think it's going to be Perot. But if Joseph starts now and has any element of like a poor 20 minutes or whatever, you're going to get the Bamford brigade out in force. So we're just like, well, Joe, you should never have taken him out. It feels very much like Bamford versus Nketiah back in the day, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does. It does. I mean, I think for tonight, Connor, it's really important that we get that first goal, because when you look at the stats this season, we know what it's like when Leeds go a goal up. I think we invariably win the game. I think we've won 20 out of 20 games. The last time I saw a start where we went a goal up. So that's really important that we try and get that first goal tonight. And I'm just hoping that if we are chasing the game at some point and we do need to get back into it, that it doesn't leave his substitutions too late.
It's key, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, really key that he doesn't do that, because, Anthony's available. I don't think we'll miss James too much. I know James isn't going to be available. He's scored like 13 goals, but I think Anthony, getting a little bit further up in terms of the hierarchical, substitutions, that's going to be beneficial for Leeds. I think there's been points. I know he's been excellent, obviously, but I think there's points where you do see Somerville tailing off a little bit, and him coming in on that side. He's got a lovely delivery on him as well.
He definitely has.
He's a good player. I think he's been underused, to be honest, this season.
He is a good player. He is a good player. And he could well play a big part tonight. Let's hope he does, so...
a couple of questions that have come in. Why do you think, Kean says, why do you think the defence has suddenly started to concede more goals? We look like a shadow of our former selves at the back. I think a lot of it as well is probably the midfield ahead of it. You can't just solely defend.
Defend as a team, don't you?
Yeah, you defend as a team, and I think sometimes Leeds have been losing it in stupid areas. You look at the goal that they scored the other night. I mean, there was an element of luck for the first one. Obviously, it bounces off Garev, and he then that latte in. But Nonso loses it high up the pitch.
Yes.
The second goal, Rutter loses it in our own half, and it feels like both those scenarios could have been easily avoided.
Contributing factors, weren't they, to the goals?
But I guess the big thing as well is, I mean, me and you've said this all season. It's it is
it's the man at the back, isn't it?
It's the man at the back, but it's also keeping the ball consistently away from Ilan Mele. His save percentage is down. I think we've seen a difference in terms of teams maybe dictating play a little bit more post international break. And if Leeds don't dictate the play, that means they come forward. They have more attacking impetus, and it means they have more shots on goal, of which then you start to worry about Ilan Mele, don't you?
Yeah, you do. He's a weakness for us in our defence. There's no doubt about that. At this level, I mean, you can look at those 3 goals that Middlesbrough scored the other night, and you could in some kind of way. It's a bit harsh, but point the finger of blame directly at the keeper. We know there are other factors there, but I'm a firm believer that if the keeper's right, the defence always know that there's somebody there in support of them. If something goes wrong, there's always somebody who they can rely upon to keep the ball out the back of the net. I don't know. It's a bit of a mystery, hasn't it? Just the way it's gone. There's been the definite dip in form, and it just seems to coincide with that international break, and it's just affected the team as a whole. So, the defence equally, and we know that we need the defence to be on it. I think there will be, tonight. I know we're letting 3 the other night.
QPR aren't great at scoring either.
And I think I read something as well about. I know they've got a new manager, Connor, but I think I haven't got the second worst home record in the league. I've heard that. Don't know if there's any truth in that.
I think they've won 2 out of the last 3, but
yeah. So and we know what teams are like when they come up against Leeds. They always seem to produce a performance
like a Blackburn.
I know. But if it's the defence is crucial for us, just like it is in every game. It's really, really important that we keep them out.
Because you rely on our forward line to produce as well, don't you? You just keep them out, and you give yourself a chance.
Yeah,
Leeds are going to get chances tonight, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah, they will get chances. They could have scored 6 or 7 by all accounts.
They could,
couldn't they? So they got 4. So I think there'll definitely be more chances tonight. So it's a good question. That I mean, it's difficult to say. I think Melia's had a real part to play in it, but
Matty says, why do we have 2 or 3 players who are willing to shoot the ball with a midfield contribution and the odd corner or set piece? I reckon the season would have been even better.
Yeah, completely agree with that one. Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I just wish that we were a bit more. We see the goal; it's on site. Looks like there's a shot on. That's what football's all about. Okay, get the defence right, but we all watch football to see goals. And when I've watched Ipswich this season, and actually in actual fact, they're a pleasure to watch from that reason alone.
True.
As soon as they get a sight of goal, doesn't matter where they are, they're going to have a go.
Yeah.
And I love that about their style of play. Well, we tend to at times overcomplicate it. We're looking for the perfect goal. We're always looking for that extra pass. They see an opportunity. What's Leif Davis? It's unbelievable, his assists and the way they smack the ball in, and they're always looking for an opportunity to score. And they're the league's top scorers, I think, Connor, aren't they? So really important that we get sight of goal. We have a goal, even if it balloons 300 foot above the bar. At least they're being positive and they're looking for a chance to score, isn't it? If we could get to the byline, you get somebody like any one of those three lads, Nonto, Somerville, or Rutter, getting to the byline and smacking the ball in, which we see them doing. We try and see them doing often. He's a fox in the box quite often. Geldart is great at that. That's fantastic.
And he shoots.
And that's a fantastic part of his game inside the box, particularly that 6-yard area.
Even in that 10. I think he'd be good in that number 10, just getting the ball and shooting.
So I don't think I'd start with him because he's not pacey. I think he'd hold the team back. But certainly, if you've got the dice to roll and we really need something in the last 10 to 15 minutes, I wouldn't leave it too late. But I'd certainly be thinking about getting him on and it's just another option.
100%. Yeah. Score prediction for tonight then?
Oh, Connor, such a difficult
one.
Be honest. I think it'll be a draw.
Draw tonight.
I think it'll be a draw. I'm desperate for it not to be, but I think it's going to be a draw tonight. I just think a win's just out of our scope, and I really hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
How about you?
My head tells me a draw, but my heart tells me a win.
Yeah.
I think,